time is ticking. So real quick, on the Punch newspaper, we have a couple of stories, both from the Punch as well as on cable. And first off, this is coming from, just a moment. All right, we have a story that says 10 escape as Oyo Amoteku intercept over 150 northerners from Zamfara in Ibadan. Now, the Amoteku Corps in Oyo State yesterday intercepted a truck carrying about 150 northerners that were traveling from Zamfara State. And according to the Vanguard report, it says that these travelers were arrested in Bodija Market and detained near the axis. Now, they were searched, but in the process, 10 people escaped. 10 people took off and ran into nearby forests. Upon search, they found out that there was nothing incriminating. You know, they were just men and women and some children. And according to the driver of the truck, he said they didn't have transportation to go to their location. And so he decided to give them a ride. Now, the question is, if you're not carrying anything incriminating, why would you run? Especially for the 10 people who escaped. What do you think about the story anyways?
The security situation in the country is one that has given everybody that security consciousness. And I would not like to say some part of the country, everybody has become a suspect also. Yes, the Amoteku having intercepted these persons, and having done a thorough search on them and nothing incriminating found on them. I think it is ideal that they should release these people immediately. But for those who try to escape, their fears are genuine. Fears are genuine. Why they were apprehensive of the fact that they have been arrested unjustly. I think it is safety, life before reasons are given. So if I'm to be found in that situation, one of those three things that comes is the 3F, where we talk about.
Hello, are you there?
The flight and the flight and the fight. So I think it is genuine. Their fears are.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, I said their fears are genuine, but for those who have been arrested by the Amoteku, I think since there is nothing incriminating, they should let them go.
They have already let them go, according to the report.
Yes, the right to move freely is enshrined in our constitution, and so if anyone is not a security threat, the person should let go.
Absolutely. Okay, moving on right now. On the Vanguard, on the front page of the Vanguard, you would find insecurity beyond what one nation can fight. And that is coming from President Muhammadu Buhari. The same story is also covered in This Nigeria, also on the front page of This Nigeria. And this time around, let's see what it says. It says, we need foreign help. Buhari says. What do you make of this particular story? Now, let's not also forget that this one story is also covered in quite a number, in the same summit. Buhari is also quoted as saying, Nigeria is making meaningful progress in tackling terrorism. Does it seem like a contradiction?
Yes, the three statements put together cannot stand on the same line. They are contradictory against itself. We are making genuine progress on insecurity. On the other hand, you are asking for foreign assistance. When some meaningful Nigerians asked that the government hire mercenaries for this purpose, the government thought these persons were hired oppositions who were talking down on its government. neglecting the in quotes have done on with regards to insecurity. Now, the security situation in Nigeria now is one that even Buhari, on one hand, is saying it is not what Nigeria can do alone, and therefore is soliciting for the help, assistance of other countries. I do not want to believe that Nigeria has given up on its solutions to the insecurity situation in Nigeria. But yes, I agree. We need assistance from bigger nations who are more technologically equipped to come to our aid. Remember, terrorism is a thing that affects virtually almost every country. But the scale at which Nigeria's terrorism is growing is one that gives concern. We are aware that they have the temerity, the effrontery to now attack the center of the nation, that is the FCT.
Yes.
And that is the seat of power.
True.
So Nigeria needs a foreign help, and that should be done urgently. The elections are approaching. People need to be safe to come out to vote. So I think we need a foreign help. But on the side of it saying that we have made genuine progress, I think the progress can only be found in the four walls of the Aso Villa.
Okay, well, in another report here, still speaking about the fight against terrorism and comments from the president and presidency. In the cable news, it says we've given security forces full freedom to end this madness, and this is coming from President Buhari. Now, in a statement on yesterday by Garba Shehu, the presidential spokesperson, he said that the president condemned the attacks in Sokoto, Plateau, and Kaduna. Don't forget now that on Monday, gunmen reportedly attacked and abducted at least 50 people from the Mari community in Berningwari local government of Kaduna State. And on the same day, 7 persons were killed, while 2 others, including a child, sustained injuries following an attack on Danda Chugwi village in Jos South local government area of Plateau State. Meanwhile, last week, I believe Thursday and Friday, about 28 persons were killed in Duma village, and that's around Tureta local government in Sokoto. So, I mean, in this statement, the presidential spokesperson is saying that the president, condemns the recent attack, condoles with the family, and it says we've given security forces full freedom to deal with and bring to end this madness. Again, it sounds like same story, different, same actors, maybe just move to a different scene, if you like. I don't know.
This government wasn't elected to make condemnations and paying condolence visits to bereaved families.
That's true.
Having made the statement that we have given full freedom, were there times their freedom were restrained by the government? Were there times is this government telling us that they somehow asked the security forces not to go out in all force against these terrorists? I think the madness, in another headline, the madness really need to stop. The madness is going beyond what it can be treated in a psychiatric hospital. Madness, yes, and Nigerians, the security forces, while we are waiting for foreign assistance, the security forces really need to deal with these situations once and for all. Once and for all. If not that, on the one hand, it is a means of business for some of them. I think this whole insecurity ought to, with the money spent on our budgets since 2000, let's start from 2019. The money spent yearly on budget with for a sub appropriation. I think enough should be enough, and let the security forces be sincere to themselves. Today, where they are killing, even the security forces themselves, they are also dying. For those who are in the office dishing out commands and not monitoring if those commands are carried out, a day may come that everybody may be on their own. We do not pray for that day to come. But while we do not pray for that day to come, we also need on our own part carry those constitutional responsibilities that has been vested upon us by privilege or position.
All right. Okay, now let's move on real quick. But if you've just tuned in, this is Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt, and it's the review, and we're looking at stories on the front pages of newspapers. And on the Vanguard today, we find the story that says CVR extension, INEC turns down 70 CSOs request. Now, about 70 civil society organizations, yesterday, in fact, since the last weekend, have tried to prevail on INEC to suspend or to carry on with the continuous voter registration. And INEC yesterday turned down the request of about 70 of them. Now, moving away from that, if you check the Nation newspaper, it says that Lagos and Kano top registration. And this one is on the front page. In fact, it's a major story on the Nation newspaper. And the goal, according to sources close to the electoral agency, is to clean up the register and then detect and eliminate double registrations. Now, INEC has already started to scrutinize the preliminary voter registration for revalidation. And I think it's good, again, but it's rather unfortunate for those who couldn't take advantage of the time that INEC gave to, get registered. What do you think, anyways?
Yes, I agree. I agree with INEC. There should be a time where some activities should be put on hold. Remember, INEC is being monitored by a law, the Electoral Act. And in the Electoral Act, provisions are made as per time of conducting specific activities. INEC, in carrying out the CVRO, has given a timeline within which the said registration should end. Now, I agree, the number of persons who came lately supersede the capacity of INEC, especially in the south, because most of these complaints are not heard in the north, but in the south here and the southwest, the complaints of the number of persons to the CG office of INEC for the reports of having low manpower, network malfunction, inadequate facilities and equipment, mar the whole processes. Now, INEC extended it to the 1st of July. Yet, again, we are still asking for an extension. I agree, the extension is ordinarily needed, but INEC also constrained by time. It is not about registering people, it's also about making your permanent vote card ready, valuable before the election.
Are you there?
On all these things, they have a time frame. So if INEC says, please give us some, INEC didn't say there. INEC said, please give us some time. Let's go and mop up. Make these ones that we have registered available. Then maybe come out in 1 or 2 weeks to continue the process if need be. Ivy, if you ask me, every day we have persons who cross the age of 18. And so if we say we must continue until we mop up every eligible voter, even on the day of the election, we still have persons who move from 17 to 18 years. So I think they should try to work with the regulatory body and give them that benefit of doubt. They are also Nigerians. They also desire the change that we all are desiring. We should just allow them for some time to carry out their functions within their best capability. And let's see if the result will come out positive.
Okay. Now we have another report here. Let's take a look at this one real quick. And it says 85% of Nigerian children suffering violent discipline in schools. And it's by the United Nations. Now, this report says that 85% of Nigerian children between the age of 1 and 14 experience violent discipline in schools, with nearly 1 in 3 children experiencing severe physical punishment. Now, INEC is saying, UN is the UNICEF is saying that this, it's as a result of corporal punishment in schools, organized them, and sometimes inflicted on them by teachers and the likes.
Yes, Ivy, what UNICEF will regard to be severe, what do they call it?
Corporal
Abuse
punishments,
or
and yes.
Yes, in African setting may not be in the context that they have portrayed. I agree. Some students suffer, some pupils suffer this kind of treatment from untrained teachers. Because what we see these days, we do not have the qualified teachers manning those mushroom schools we call private schools, who are only there to collect school fees and give out uniforms. And the next 2 days, the uniforms are wearing off. Now, but on the other hand, traditionally, we are known for home discipline, and home discipline doesn't come by clapping of the hands or a blink of the eye. So there are some corporate punishments that are needed. While some teachers agreeably take these things to the extreme, we also need those kind of discipline to reflect who we are, where we are coming from, and what we are known for. So I doubt the report as given by saying every three to one
in three.
Suffering. Yes, I do not know where they got their indices from.
But don't you also think that it's correct, because you know that more children are in public schools than in private schools, right?
That is my point. More children are in public schools.
Exactly, and it's in public schools that you find these punishments more than in private schools. Much more.
I mean, not lately, please.
Are you talking about federal schools? Are you talking about state-owned schools? We're talking public schools now.
We are talking 1 to 14. Ideally, if you look at it very well, it's between pre-nursery to primary school.
Yes.
And maybe to GS1, GS2. Yes.
And yes, and maybe
just
GSS3.
Take a time and visit some of these primary schools and see if our teachers do even have the time to look at these students and discipline them. Look at the rot we are having in the society. It's a reflection of homes.
So you think that teachers are not doing enough in terms of discipline, especially those in the public schools, and that's why we have decadence in morals and all of that.
I'm not only thinking, that is what I believe.
Right. Okay. Well, let's move on from that thought right now. But point taken. Now we have this report in the Leadership newspaper, and it says, "I pity Nigeria's next president," says Gumi. That's what he has to say, that Nigeria suffers from a lot of diseases, and that, this present administration has not really done well. And he's saying, well, the next person who comes in has a lot of work waiting for them.
Yes, I on one hand, I agree with Gumi himself. But on the other hand, I disagree with him. In law, there is what they call voluntary not fit injury. In other words, what you have volunteered to do, what you have willingly given up yourself to do, you shouldn't be heard thereafter complaining of the injuries or of the consequences that follows that act. Now, we have persons who are presenting themselves to rule the country. I believe they are fully aware of the enormous challenges facing the country. And I also believe that within them, that they have the solutions to those problems. Aside those who are coming to fulfill a long life desired ambition, is any genuine Nigerian who is giving up himself, who has asked himself to come out for the position of the president, I think should know the problems Nigeria is facing. We are facing problems security-wise, economic-wise. We are nowhere. Unemployment is over the bar, and so these are marriage of challenges facing us. But for anyone who has a desire to come out to rule the country, I think we shouldn't pity that person, because he is aware. If I'm aware that there is a fire burning in your house and I decide to enter, do you pity me thereafter if I come out with burns on my faces? No, I do not think so.
Okay. All right. Now, there's another story that is quite controversial, and it's gotten Twitter boiling. And it's a comment or a warning issued by Sam Omaseye. And he calls for the supporters of Obi. In fact, he tells the Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, to call his supporters to order after the backlash over the obituary article. Now, let me just give you a little background of this one, just in case you've not been following. The chairman of the Nation newspaper editorial board, he has asked Peter Obi, presidential candidate, to call his supporters to order. Now, in a tweet on Tuesday, he also said that if anything happens to him, that the whole world should hold Peter Obi accountable. And you know, a lot of Nigerians have taken to Twitter to bash him seriously after a series of comments that he made. Let me just read. Now, in the article, the columnist said Obi's candidacy has turned out to be an excuse for closet Biafrans to betray open emotions about Biafra without being accused of it. He went on to say that this includes intellectuals who did not show mercy to him while he reigned in Anambra as a Pharisaic chief executive. It is like wearing a color beneath another color. Obi has become a shelter for both miscreants and activists of the crowd. Obi knows this. He's happy to be their catharsis, that is like the one who causes a purge in the system, to be their excuse for unfurling their bile at the system, for acting like revolutionaries. And then, you know, he's playing to it by acting as though he's the saint of Nigerian politics. Perhaps the purists of the Biafran cause are unhappy, and they unleash a past video. Now, see, he went on in a particular place, he referred to the entire movement as obituaries. And the obedience are not finding it funny at all. And he says that they're threatening his life. And if anything happens to him, Obi should be held responsible for it. What do you think?
Ivy, he who comes to equity must come with his two hands clean. I do not think Sam has the moral right. If his conscience is still alive, I'm sorry to use that word, but I do not think he has that moral right to ask that to call his supporters to order. In fact, I think the supporters are already in order. You do not call someone alive, referring to the person as a mug, and you expect the person to keep to be silent and clap for you. I think his words in the first place were not answered. He was not. He was driving a point to appease or assuage those who have asked him to do so. Or if nobody has asked him to do so, he was trying to sell a point to those who he wants to seek their attention. And now he has gotten the attention of the right persons who are all out in defense of what they believe. If anyone decides to believe in the Obi presidential candidate, so be it. You have your own choice. You have your own right to market, sell, whoever you want to. But why should you denigrate a particular set of persons because they have decided to? I think the word used by Sam Omaseye, to say the least, is uncivilized, and I least expect it from him.
Okay, so, all right, so you actually condemn it in the popular language that we hear in Nigeria now. I condemn it in its entirety.
I condemn the statement made by Sam in its entirety, if I will borrow your own words, please.
All right, let's move on right now at this point and take comments. We do have a very short time, a very, very limited time to take messages. And we have lots and lots of responses on Facebook, so please go on Facebook and drop your comment at Super FM PH. But in the meantime, anyways, the SMS line is open 09059481021. Instagram at Super FM 93.3. Phone line 07050791021 and 0811743101. Super FM Port good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Welcome. What's your name?
Good morning.
I can hear you. Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Kawajib James from Social Activity.
Welcome, sir. Please make it very, very short.
Let me quickly say that the Center by UNICEF is deceiving. The social rights education, I have moved around and see that most of our public schools are not adding value anymore to the students. The discipline rates are reduced, and if they are getting this data, I don't know if it's in Nigeria or in Ghana, they should come clear and give us the day-by-day inventory so we can be able to also assess what we have on ground, if they are right. Then for the movement, I think the man said a lot of things, but you must not throw the baby with the bad water. The man has made a point, and if whoever cares to get into those points should believe in those points.
All right.
To be able to sell out his ambition, he should reduce himself with most of these people who are spoiling his image towards the social media and the local tabloid, making negative comments about the big movement and insulting people. It's not the way politics is supposed to play. So we should discard himself from
all right, thank you.
And focus on ambition. Thank you.
Super FM Port good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, my name is Comrade Letanda Sunday.
Please go ahead, sir.
President. Yeah. Pardon?
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you.
Yeah. The director of the Nation newspaper asked me to call his supporters to order.
Yes.
I want to say that has been a very worrisome issue to me. My sister, if you listen to 91.7, 97.7 FM in the morning, and you see the way these Igbos come up with statements, in fact, you will ask if these people think anything different to human being or maybe to other aspirants. In fact, it bothers me. And yet, they continue in that manner. And I know very well that it will affect some people. Lastly, Buhari said the issue of security is not easy to be tackled by only one
by
person.
one country. Yes, please. Go ahead.
But yeah. The issue here is that why the issue of insecurity is ravaging the country is because the oppositions see that this is the only means of frustrating the government so that people can divert attention to look at other political parties that they will support. It is the opposition party that are sponsoring all this, all the noise we are saying. Sister, let me tell you, if you have a rat in the house and the rat in the house happen to go and bring rat outside to the house, or something is lost in your house, and you discover that it is an outside rat.
So your time is up.
Eating the food.
Yes.
The food in your house. Know it very well that the rat outside cannot know what is happening in your house.
All right.
Because it is only the inside rat that can bring the outside rat to come and eat food in your house.
Okay. Super FM Port good morning.
Good morning, my sister.
Yes, please, go ahead. Good to have you. Go ahead, real quick.
Yes, Gumi's position this morning that the incoming president will find it difficult.
That he pities for the next.
He pities, yes. He pities, meaning that look at the position of Gumi and the personality of Gumi. Gumi is a man that represents bandits and is making this statement this morning. What does that tell you? It tells you that it will not be easy for whoever that is coming. Knowing fully well that those he represents must have also told him that, look, it's not going to be easy if this man live up without.
All right, thank you. Super FM Port good morning. Unfortunately, I lost that call.
Good morning, the very distinguished Olga.
Welcome.
How are you doing this morning?
Very well, thank you, Mr. Temple. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. More 5 cardinal chapters after 167 days in captivity. I think for me, I would say it's one of the good news I've heard this morning. And I will appeal that the adopters will continue to release them, because those guys have suffered a lot.
Yes.
A lot of trauma they have passed through. I think they can't explain it. Their mouth can never explain it or what they have passed through. But I want to appeal to the security agencies and the president himself. He has told us or told the diplomatic, that he has, invested more, and what is he doing about the insecurity ravaging this country. But for me, I think we as the people should be seeing the impact of that is effort, because we cannot continue to hear on daily basis hundreds of persons being kidnapped, passengers being hijacked, this and that, security men being ambushed and killed.
All right.
So those kind of effort he's putting in place, we should be able as a people to see the good dividends of those impact.
Okay.
Not on media publicity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Unfortunately, I had to let him go. Quite a number of comments on the social media page, and I doubt that I'll be able to take every single one of them, but I'll just do a random search here. Lambert Weezy says, good morning. SDP will win governorship poll, Senator Magnus Abbey. Well, this is a comment that was also made by the good senator himself. We didn't take that, but you would find quite a number of stories on our social media page, so go over there and check and leave a comment. He says, I know SDP will win election in Rivers State because everyone is tired of PDP and APC. Thank you very much for that one. Cosmos Puine says, SDP will win the state polls. This is a clear statement of fact. All right, thank you very much. Danny Chuk says, Obia right from D-Line. Who are those who benefited from the federal government money year to year? Am I not a citizen of this country? Well, this is in response to the reported sharing of about 622 billion naira to small businesses in Nigeria by the federal government. Chinwe Nwankwo says, SDP is going to win the election because Senator Magnus Abbey, Rivers people want someone like him. All right, thank you very much for that one. Unfortunately, this is the much that I can take. The good barrister, thank you very much for joining me on the program this morning. I'm so grateful. And I wish we had more time.
Thank you, Ivy. And have a lovely day ahead.
Thank you. And you too, sir.
Thank you.
All right, and that's it for the review. My apologies to everyone who's trying to reach me. I am so sorry, but leave me a comment on social media, and I'll just be standing by to respond to all of them. But we've got guests from IM Properties. Do not change the dial. It's Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt, and after this break, I'll bring them in. Don't go anywhere.
We know what you want and how you want it.
You're Super FM. Yeah! Super FM.
Because I have a guest with me in the studio, and he is